Thanks for joining us, everybody. Very excited to have Mr. Bryan Laird here with us today to give us his thoughts and insights on Insight today. Bryan, thank you so much for being here, man.
Hey, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
The pleasure's mine. Thank you. Before we really start kind of deep diving into, Insight and your experience, can you take a moment or two and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I mean, the short version is, I'm a dad. I'm a vet, former rugby player, just a guy who is trying to escape the day to day and live the best life possible.
And how are you going about doing that?
I'm like a diehard entrepreneur. So, I'm always just trying to break out. So if
Right.
there's a box, I'm trying to work outside of it.
Well, then, how did that lead you to the Entre Insight events?
So that's actually a little bit of a longer story.
How
Found,
about it?
yeah, I found myself about 2.5 years ago. So eh, let's say March, February, March of 2020, huge transition. So I left the company that I had co-founded. Um, Pandemic hit, and then May of that year, I had a shoulder surgery, should be a simple labrum repair that led to a, basically a catastrophic nerve situation in my right arm, and I'm right arm dominant. And it left me almost unable to use my right arm. It's like unbelievable amount of pain, and the recovery from that was long. And I, developed a lot of bad habits and was just kind of floating along. I didn't have a specific career path anymore. The pandemic was kind of depressing everyone, and I was broken physically. And then I woke up 2022 January, 50 years old. Like, what is going on with my life? And I happened to stumble across an advertisement, Jeff Lerner in it, and got interested in Entre. And of course, Entre is the host to Insight. And I liked everything that Entre had to say. I'm like, well, I'll go to Insight. What do I
Okay.
have to lose? And I've been to so much personal development. You know, you name it, I've probably been. And that's how I ended up at Insight. I'm like, well, I'm ready. I'm ready to change. I'm ready to get going. I love this concept of the three P's, and this is going to help all of my goal setting. It's going to help me achieve all of my goals. And so I went with the thought that, what do I have to lose? That's how I ended up at Insight. That's where I was when I started Insight.
Do you remember how Insight was described to you before actually going?
It wasn't described to be before actually. It, it was, to me, it was leadership and personal development in just the cloud, right? It's
Right.
no real description. No one could really tell me or was willing to tell me what was actually going to happen. And so I went in with a lot of expectations, having been to quite a few conferences and such, seminars and whatever. I expected to have plenty of time to see Denver, and like all this time to text and check in with people. I took my laptop, thought I would get some work done. All right. So I had all these expectations. Well,
And well, with those expectations based on previous kind of personal growth, either events or seminars or whatever prior to, like just overall, was this a similar experience to all of those?
night and day. I I don't know that I've ever experienced anything exactly like Insight. So and it's so hard to describe exactly.
That was going to be my next question. If you could describe the experience, like for the roller coaster ride, if you will, that is Insight, how would you describe it?
So maybe I can just do a comparison to my expectations. So I
Okay.
expected to see Denver. I saw the inside of a hotel.
Okay.
I expected to have a ton of time to text. I expected to have a ton of time to do some other activities. I had zero time to do any of those things. I expected to get a full lunch every day. That didn't even happen. I expected to meet one or two people that I might kind of a little bit connect with and want to talk to again.
Right?
That wasn't true either. So what I experienced instead was 12 hours of work that I wanted to do with people that I fell in love with and still stay in contact with and trust, completely. Like there's a group of people now that I know that if I said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Hawaii next week. Can you host me?" At least two families would say, "Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you." But, instead of meeting a couple of people that I might stay in touch with, I found a whole new community. Instead of texting back and forth with family, I came back to a changed human. Instead of wandering around Denver, Colorado, I was attending classes on time because I wanted to be there and couldn't miss a single minute. Couldn't stand to miss it. No way. So
I
that's kind of the comparison.
I completely understand where you're coming from there. I was very much the same way. I was speaking to someone else last week, and the word that came out was captivated, and that really kind of summed up every almost every aspect of just being there. You're just enthralled, engrossed, captivated by everything going on around you, and the transformations that you're seeing going around you. And the way that the curriculum is kind of set up is, in my opinion, I mean, almost perfect. The way that you do kind of, well, it's definitely experiential. I'll say that much. We're not going to go into details about this because, clearly everybody needs to have their own experience when they go. But it is experiential, and I think that's one of the fundamental differences between this and then some of those others that you mentioned earlier, in terms of other kinds of personal growth. Would you say that that's pretty fair?
I'd say that's perfect. I think captivating is right on the money. And instead of just being force fed information, it is all based on your own experience. And you're like learning through exercises and opportunities to connect and opportunities to share. And, even for the analyst out there, some tools and some processes and some things to bring home that are tangible.
So you're in this place where you're an entrepreneur, but you're dealing with you're dealing with physical ailments. I'm sure there was some mental blockage and stuff going on there as well, as probably because of just where you are in life. Um, would you say that, you know, prior prior to Insight, if somebody had said that you'd be where you're at today, would you have believed them?
No,
And why is that?
it's almost two different people. It's almost two different people. I think one of the best ways to describe insight and the experience that I had is that it was transformational. And it was transformational in that I learned so much about the things that were holding me back, the things
Okay.
that were keeping me from greatness. And it's just so many stories that I tell myself that I find my mind is able to find evidence to support, and they're just not true. But I wasn't even aware of those barriers before I went. Right? And so having that awareness changed me.
Well, it definitely changes a lot of people. I mean, you and I both know, having gone through the program, and as you mentioned earlier, keeping in touch with people that have, and then gone on and done the other courses, and just kind of seeing the progression of that transformation is, I mean, it should fill you with joy and excitement, and it should inspire you to go even further. And that being said, to your estimation, who is the person that can benefit most from going to Insight and experiencing or potentially experiencing that kind of transformation?
I think this is an opportunity that can benefit anyone. It was really fun. I liked watching the couples, either,
Okay.
whether married or not, because it really seemed like a lot of, there was breakthroughs right then and there for some of them from a relationship perspective, which is really fun to watch. But the crowd it was so diverse. I mean, we really had, you had teenagers all the way through to, I don't know, folks that were well past retirement age. And so it seems to me like everyone could benefit from this if they're willing to play hard, if they're willing.
That's yes, that is key. You got to go in and you got to you have to have an open mind. You have to go in and just do what they ask of you. Don't think too much about it, just do it. And if you can do that, then you can have the experience that I have told people about, that you have told people about, that people that hundreds of people that have already gone and told their story. Like that is the experience that you can have, but you have to go in with the right mindset of again, it's hilarious for me. Everybody that I've talked to, with almost zero exception, is like, I didn't know what I was going to.
Right.
And when I came out the other end, I would have I would have given them whatever they wanted to go back and have that experience all over again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, keyword,
Yeah.
keyword. But go ahead, please.
I was going to say, you can't be a dad without the kids.
I mean, it's they kind of go together.
They go together.
Oh,
It's such a blessing.
absolutely. And this one always keeping me on my toes.
I love it.
Um, Bryan, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you sharing your story. I know it's inspiring for me to see the transformation that you went through. I know it'll be inspiring for everyone else that watches this video. And for those of you that watch the replay, do me a favor and comment in the comment section below, hashtag replay. And if you or somebody that you know is in a place where they need the gift of insight, click the link in the post and let's get them into this experience and have this transformation that we've all been talking about. Bryan, again, thank you so much. If there's anything I can ever do for you, please let me know. Thank you for being here today.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Thanks so. Bye.